this week, Thursday, with the state to talk about how you're going to have a reliable power source out here. So, you know, there's several things at the plant that need to be addressed.
That's going to be, that's meeting held because of the outage they had, Ross City.
You're probably looking at a generator, right?
Well, I think there's potentially two options. The state will recognize two independent sources of power. There is two sources of power. The only problem is that there is a short run of poles that both Appalachian and MUS share that pole. So if one or more of those poles get destroyed, both legs of power go out. So to reroute and build another circuit into the plant for MUS or Appalachian could be a solution, or the generator. We don't know which is most cost effective. And I think the state will allow you time to investigate which is the better for Morristown and come back and tell them what you want to do. I don't think they'll let you not do anything, but they'll give you the opportunity to decide what is best for you.
Lamar, this has gone on for a long, long time, and I think that the council needs to address it before we end up in the same situation we are with sewer. It's not a new problem,
You end up in the same situation as one?
as we are with sewer.
For the odor that you have.
I'll say this, I come through there a couple of weeks ago, Dennis, and man, I thought I fell in the outhouse.
It'll stop you sometimes.
It got up my nose and in my eyes. It was terrible.
Yeah, I'm out there more in the morning than any other time, and that's what I've noticed the biggest problem. Is that pretty much holds true, mornings and evenings?
And weather conditions.
Yeah.
And like I say, for years, unless it was foggy or rainy, I couldn't smell it at my house. I live on Warren Drive, which is about almost halfway back. But now it's noticeable all the time, sometimes better than others. Bright sunny days, any kind of cloud issues, you know, you're going to smell it. And I know it's the old Oaks property down there. I believe it's a Wesleyan church. I know our church, Buffalo Trail, was thinking about buying that property at one time to build a new church. Well, that was one of the issues that came up in the business meeting was the sewer, you know, and so thankfully the Wesleyan church took advantage of the property that we didn't take advantage of. But the stories that are, you know, and you know how stuff starts. It starts out with little stuff and then it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And like I say, when the ladies and the people out there get together, if there's two people in the yard talking about somebody that died of cancer last week, it's because of the sewer line, you know, and I don't think it is, but that's just an excuse for.
Well, you mentioned the Knoxville plant on
Yes.
Leyland Drive. You're probably old enough to remember when the present conditions weren't there and it was more like what is
Well,
here.
I wasn't parking next to it then, but like I say, it's amazing now because the first 2 or 3 times that we parked there with him, and you get out expecting to smell that, and of course you see the method, you know, the flames burning over there and stuff. You never smell it. You know, snowy weather, rainy weather, anything, you never smell it. And I'm sure they're probably carrying more of a load than this plant out here is.
Well, it's all relative. The plants are designed for the load. This one, average flow of 5 million gallons maybe a day. And that one's about 40 million a day.
Just a simple question. Say something goes offline out there. Say just a certain part of the circle there goes offline. How long, if it's that far out of date, how long does it ever take? Do you ever get caught back up? As far as treating sewage and stuff? If something goes out of kilter on a piece of equipment or something like that?
Well, how long were you using that rented press MUS just to get the solids down last spring?
We used it from the end of March until the 1st of June to get through the crisis portion. Your plant was probably at its best condition as of July 1. And it continues to be in its best condition, solids inventory-wise, since. This being October, this will change very quickly once the water temperatures change.
So you're saying when the temperatures go down, the bacteria is not working as much?
Right. What
And that's when
happens?
the odors are worse in the fall, and
What happens is when the weather conditions change and the temperatures begin to decrease in these digesters, and I have no means of maintaining that heat, in order to keep the digesters from becoming upset, we have to begin decreasing the feed rate to them. And that begins here where your solids inventory, and I'm going to draw it this way. This is your clarifier, and generally this is your sludge blanket, and all clarifiers have a sludge blanket. Our target is to keep them below 2 feet, 1 foot being optimal. As this decrease of feed begins, this begins to grow and grow. This hydrogen sulfide smell you're talking about, these solids, the longer they sit, they actually begin to ferment or decay, so they're creating hydrogen sulfide.
Which is an anaerobic process.
Which is an anaerobic, so now I have an anaerobic process in an aerobic system. Okay, as these concentrations grow, the amount of solids getting carried over the weirs to go into the next process is heavier. So, and I'm going to lose you here, and I apologize. Probably except for Bob, he'll follow it. We run an aeration basin with a food to microorganism ratio. The more food that I'm feeding the aeration basin, the more sewage. The more sewage I'm feeding the aeration basin, the more microorganisms I need to eat that sewage. Okay, as this increases here, I have to return more. So where I may have had a concentration of...
And get a better feel and understanding for the process. It's something that I think can be enlightening and educational if you want to take that.
I did that with Cindy, and we spent a half a day. I walked away knowing a lot more about what's going